I'm often amazed at the level of commitment from people who are in positions of leadership. I've been watching some old footage, and I believe it's from 1995, 96, based on the cars that are in the footage. And some of the stuff that I'm seeing, you wonder if it's planned, if it's scripted, if it's truth, if it's fake news modified to look like a documentary. What I've been watching is an interview with a guy by the name of James File. If you don't know that name, then it's probably irrelevant to you. But you probably know the name of the relationship that he has to American and world history. So if you're just curious, just go to YouTube and type in the name James File and see what you find. Some people called him Jimmy instead of James. He was an employee of multiple different types of organizations. According to his own conversation in the video that I've been watching, he was directly associated with our American military, with the CIA, with a special ops group. Formerly had been part of the 82nd Airborne in the U.S. Army. But his immediate bosses were one gentleman from the CIA, who in his videos he names, and one gentleman from the syndicate, the organized crime world of Chicago. And he describes in phenomenal detail how he carried out a now infamous act that, according to all of the documents that are on history, recorded, classified, sealed documents that say this is what happened on this event, his personal testimony reveals some realistic and hard to dispute truth that flies in the face of everything we've been told for 50 years. The commitment to a lie is often greater in necessity than the commitment to the truth. You've heard it said since you were a child that once you tell a lie, a small little lie, one tiny little deception, that because of the spider web of facts and knowledge and people and relationships, it's not sufficient for that one lie to stand on its own. There have to be other people who are bought into that lie, because as it spreads out, other people add facts, they add information, they add knowledge, they add understanding, they add their own experiences. And as that happens, what you try to convey as truth is either better exposed or deeply revealed to be a lie. It's amazing to me the commitment that leaders will make to a lie. The amount of money and time that they will invest in continuing that lie when they know it to be a lie to begin with. Of course, the incident that I'm talking about that very likely has shaped and reshaped world history is the assassination of JFK. Now, I know there's a party line on that, and there have been books written about it from every direction, and there have been researchers who have studied the Zapruder films and the photos of Mary and all of the other surrounding evidence. It's amazing to me that the conspiratorial aspect of it has been dismissed so easily, just to say we have our official documents and, well, that's the truth because we say so. And yet there are people who can give you firsthand experience of where they were and what they were doing and what they saw and how they were involved. And then suddenly they go missing. Last count I heard in the documentary sources that I was watching yesterday, and I watched tons while I was editing video, and you start that process while editing video, and now you're just waiting on the machine to catch up, to render files, to output a file so you can then make the DVD. Yeah. So while I'm doing that, I'm doing this research as well. And some of the details provided by people who said, I was an eyewitness, I was in this place, I met this person, I'd never known them before that day, and then I learned this, and then I learned this, and then later, of course, I learned this, and then that person went missing, or that person died of natural causes. And at one point, someone said, to record, there were more than 40 people, 42, I think was the last count that I heard. And that was from a documentary that was done in the, I would have to say, late 80s, early 90s, because all the computers were still monitors that looked like, antiquated televisions. And the guy said at this point, 42 people had been eliminated from the picture by one means or another. And of course, the implication is by nefarious means, but doctors who have been assassinated, people who have been, likely Harvey Oswald, then Ruby, and I mean the list just goes on and on of people who were involved and other not, and their testimony can't be counted on because they don't exist anymore. And it's so easy to portray a lie when anyone who could tell the truth is gone. And then this morning, just at random, as I'm getting ready, I'm listening to old video. I'm not even sure it's actual audio track of Smith Wigglesworth, because it has this really strange AI-like cadence. Yes, it has his accent kind of, and it sounds like it might be his voice, but it might be one of those where somebody has taken the library of his voice and then run it through AI to create the verbal sound of what he was writing. Fascinating listening to him, though. Listening to the stories of his own life and the encounters on boat rides back and forth between England and New York, the relationships that he built. And it's funny that while the deception demands so many people be a part of the cover-up, so many people have to give their lives because it demands that to protect the lie. When you think back to what Stephen testified about, and it cost him his life, it was the same thing that Peter testified about. It was the same thing that then Cephas testified about. It was the same thing that then decades later, centuries later, people are still testifying about this one man who supposedly performed these acts. And can you imagine the number of people that would have had to die to carry on that story as long as we have? I mean, almost 50 people have died, maybe even more now, trying to cover up what many believe was a deception with regard to what happened to JFK. And yet, the number of people who have died in the cause of Christ have been, most of them killed because they believed it to be true. Because the evidence seems to be overwhelming. In fact, if you look at most of the books that have been written about the Christ, I believe one of the most prominent is a book called The Cause for Christ, or The Evidence That Demands a Verdict. Both of those people wrote books determined to disprove all of the hubbub around this carpenter's son from Nazareth. And a lot of people have worked really hard to discount it as a lie, to dismiss whatever truth might be in it. And yet the evidence is so overwhelming that those who have done any research have looked into the personhood of, who have researched the spirit of the man, the Christ, most have found that he is a reliable source, that he is the truth, and that he tells the truth, and that the impact he's had on culture, on society, on world politics, on world religion, on wars, the influence of that one man is undeniable. And yet so is his influence in the lives of people today. Tonight at the Full Gospel Businessmen's Association dinner in Las Colinas, Texas, I will share my story. Yes, it will talk some about the years that I spent deceived when I was addicted to pornography for 25 years. I will talk about my first encounter with the Holy Spirit, and I had no idea who it was. I'll talk about what it meant to come to know Christ and the journey that I've had walking in faith and walking without faith. And even when I knew about Christ, but I didn't know him, in that way. You're welcome to join us. It's open to the public. It's a free event. Dinner is optional. It's totally up to you. And it will be at the Hilton Garden Inn in Las Colinas. And I will share the link right here on my Facebook page so that you can go back and see it. You're encouraged to come. You're challenged to come. You will meet people unlike me from all walks of life, all parts of the planet, male and female, different businesses, different backgrounds, different theological backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, who have come to know Christ as truth. I challenge you to join us. It takes a whole lot more effort to carry on a lie than it does to carry on the truth. The truth doesn't need nearly as much supporting evidence because it is evidence on its own. Will you consider joining us if you're in the Dallas area? We'll start about 6:30, Hilton Garden Inn, Las Colinas. I'll put the link to the event invite right in the comments of this post so that you can find them. And I hope to see you tonight. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.